I would love to do proper steam bending, but who has space or money for a setup like that? There must be a different way. So, I'm going to explore different ways of bending wood, mostly with hand tools, just to prove that you can do that at home on a small scale. We'll try kerf bending, we'll try steam bending, we'll try water bending with different materials and see what happens. Let's do it. Now, this is basically what we do for kerf bending. You could do this with a table saw or with a router, but I don't have a bit that is thin enough and I don't have a table saw, and I just want to demonstrate that you can do this with hand tools. Does it take a butt ton of time? Absolutely, but it is doable. So, I'll talk to you again in 3 days when I finish doing all of these kerfs. Okay, now that we have our kerfs, the next step would be to heat the wood up, because only when it's heated up, it's pliable to bend it. Then we will glue it and keep it overnight, and then we'll see if this works or breaks apart. I tried to get the curves as even as possible with about 2 millimeters to spare to the bottom, and let's see if it works out. So first step is to moisten up the front and the back. And then we turn on our iron on steam. Put it on maximum temperature. And then we turn the entire thing around. Initially, when I cut them, I was being very conservative. I cut all of the notches a bit deeper, and you can already see it is bending a lot better. I want to be careful now so that I don't break it. I'm going to steam it a bit more, but this should do the trick. Now, as you can see, this is bending. It is not bending as much as I would like it, and the reason for that is because I used my Japanese saw to have very thin curves. There's not enough space for the wood to go, so I think I need to cut the notches wider, but the principle works. Okay, we're not looking too bad. I cut a few more curves, and I made the ones that I had a bit wider. I have used, I think, about half a liter of glue here, clamped it, and used a lot of elastics. The glass didn't really work out. Now I'm going to not touch this for a couple of hours, let it dry, and then we'll see. But the angle doesn't look all that bad, so I'm pretty happy with this. We'll see. Let's see if this worked out. pretty cool. I think I got my dimensions off a little bit, but I can fix that. I'm going to veneer it. Proof of concept, it works. You can do it with hand tools and you don't need fancy machinery. The next one is going to be a lot cleaner though. Let's see how much of a mess this has turned into. Well, this is not great. As you can see, the layers have actually split. And we have cracks. So I think it's safe to say that this experiment was a fail, which obviously doesn't mean we're not going to try again. But soaking plywood in water, clearly not a great plan, even though the internet says that you can do this. What does that tell us? Don't trust the internet. Okay, time to unclump this monstrosity. I'm fairly nervous about this, but here goes nothing. It actually worked. It needs some trimming and some cutting, but hold that thought. I think it might actually do what it promises on the packaging. Let's cut it and see. Okay, from our last failed experiment, I have recycled a part of the plywood sheet. My husband was so kind as to print me a mold, and now I will try if that works. I'm gonna try it on this side because obviously it's a bit wider, and then we clamp. Now we wait. Another day, another try. Let's see how this turned out. I have to say, I am entirely unimpressed. Plywood clearly is not the answer. It's still damp, even though I've given it, I want to say 18 hours. And as you can see, it's not keeping the shape at all. So we'll try it again with veneer. For the veneer, I'm going again with my burl wood, partly because I still have a lot of it, and it's also quite pretty. It's relatively thin, so I think I'm going to do a few more layers. I'm going to make it 4.5 centimeter by 23 centimeter to properly fill the form. The one thing you want to do when cutting veneer is try not to use too much force, meaning cut several layers rather than trying to do it all in one go. All right, I have a much higher degree of confidence in this, but we'll give it a couple of hours. Alrighty, let's see how the second attempt worked out. I generally think it's not too bad, but I think I would want a steeper angle than what I currently have. Let's give it a bit of a sand and a bit of a styling and see what happens. Okay, without further ado, let's get to our results, starting at the back. I think this has to be my favorite. It's easy to do. You can do it with different kind of veneers, potentially also with thin strips of solid wood. In the future, I would definitely add 1 or 2 layers, but then again, also this veneer is extra thin. I think it has a lot of potential. You could round out the edges, you could add decor trims, you can add metal, whatever you want, right? You can make this also wider, so you could fit some plexiglass to make this look a bit more neat. But I think just for photos or cards, this is incredibly cute. And again, I think I might even do that a bit steeper. Ultimately, it's easier to cut it out of wood, which you can easily do with a jigsaw, right? So that one, 100% easy to do, makes nice presents, and yeah, I love it. Also, as a good application, you could technically turn this into a handle of some description. So it's just so versatile and so easy to do. So if you're looking for easily made presents, that is your way forward. Next one. I think this one was one of the trickier ones. I tried this with water bending of plywood. I had done some research and the internet said, you can do that with plywood. Clearly you can't. I tried also as a later experiment to actually put the plywood over a pot of steaming water, and I left it there for a good hour, but I had basically the same result. So again, I did this with veneer. So technically the same procedure as that one. Again, I would add more layers of veneer because this, quite honestly, is not great quality veneer, but it was good enough for a proof of concept. So this is supposedly for books, and as you can see, in terms of looks, it's really, really nice. It obviously bends here. I've tried it with a few more books and it just bends down quite a bit. But again, that is due to the nature of this veneer. I think this makes a really, really cool present as well. It is really nice. You could technically do that also with just one bend, keep this one not curved if you're not confident of doing the double press, which is a bit tricky to be honest, and you could just add a straight element. So again, it has some potential. I would try it again in the future with thicker veneer or maybe even a thin strip of wood. I've tried it with the same pine wood that I already had that I used for the other project, but it was too thick. I could not steam it. I could not water bend it. There was just no hope with what I have. But again, proof of concept, good enough for now. I will try this again in the future. And that brings us to the last one, which quite frankly, I love. It is wildly impractical to do with hand tools. Takes a lot of time, but it's just so pretty. So as I said earlier, I was going to veneer it, which I have done with the same veneer, and it looks very cool. You don't really have the problem anymore that you see the edge of the curves here. And also, to be honest, I didn't do a great job because technically you need to do some math with your curves to get the exact angle that you want. So you can literally just look up a curve calculator online and it will tell you how to do it and the math. I didn't do it, and but still the result is pretty cool. I really like it. Again, this is for a cell phone. I'm filming with my cell phone. So imagine this was a tablet. So it's pretty nice. I really like it. I think it takes too much time to be a really viable option to do with hand tools. I will in the future get a drill bit for my router to just speed up the process. And then I think I would try this again in different ways in the future, but I just love it. Anyway, these are our results. There's definite room for improvement, but I think as a proof of concept and as a first try, it's pretty neat. So let me know in the comments if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions. Maybe you can think of something that I can do better myself. And do hit that subscribe button. See you next time. Bye.